Cryptonauts, and welcome back to another episode of Cryptocurrency Chat here on June 18th, 2023, a Sunday, in fact, for episode 525. Of course, being a Sunday, we're going to be hitting up with the This Week in Coins and This Week in Crypto Twitter. We've got other really cool news coming up, so stay tuned. How are you doing, John? In case you guys don't know, this is Jake Tabarelli. I forgot to mention myself.
Yes. So yeah, this past Friday over at Hacker Dojo, we had 100+ people in attendance for Lightning Talks. It was awesome. It was like a 4x in attendance, which is freaking cool, man, to see all those people out there. So thanks to everybody that attended for Lightning Talks, and just keep it growing. That was fun. It's fun hosting those events. All
Yeah,
right, we
interesting
got
to
a
see that
couple of
episode.
we got a couple of things to plug in here. We got Pacific Bitcoin Festival coming up October 5th and 6th, 2023 in Los Angeles, California. Make sure you pick up tickets to go check it out. You got a couple speakers here. And you got the general and VIP tickets. General is for $550. VIP is $2,800. Head on over to pacificbitcoin.com for that. Second, we have Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, Tennessee, starting July 25th, going through the 27th of 2024. So that's until next year. But you can buy your tickets now, and they are exactly $299 on my end, and apparently on Jake's end, it's like, what was it, $499?
Let me see what it says. I haven't looked at the price recently for Bitcoin 2024, but let's
Yeah, on
see
my side it
here.
says $299.
It says 299 over here now. It's
Okay,
not the same. It seems to change based on where you log in from. Because I mean, if I log in to my VPN, it might show something different. If I log into USA, it's like I don't know if
interesting.
you guys saw the Target app, how the Target app changes its prices as you get closer to the store.
Yeah. All right, so
Oh,
$299 for general admission, $749 for Bitcoin Industry Pass, and the Bitcoin Well Pass is for basically 4,500, or in Satoshi's 17 million. All right, check that out over at
let's get
b.tc/conference/2024.
on to the news here in This Week in Crypto Twitter. The SEC registration hallucination. What? Anyways, crypto markets recovered a tad this week on the news that U.S. inflation appears to have cooled off. General clamor continued on Twitter over the Securities and Exchange Commission crackdown on this sector, in which the regulator filed two high-profile lawsuits against exchange titans Coinbase and Binance last week. On Monday, Fox journalist Eleanor Terrett shared a transcription of remarks by the SEC chair, Uncle Gary Gensler, who maintains that cryptocurrencies can be regulated under existing securities laws. Here's a quick bit on Eleanor Terrett's Twitter. New SEC Gov Chairman Gary Gensler remarks before the Piper Sandler Global Exchange and FinTech Conference, quote, I disagree with the notion, and recent history disproves it, that crypto intermediary compliance isn't possible, end quote. There's much more there I will not read. Continuing on, many in the industry say Gensler is disingenuous for implying that it's easier to register with the SEC. Gemini co-founder Cameron Winklevoss says Gensler is full of hot air, and here's his quick tweet. A 10-year-long registration process with no end in sight. Great. Continuing, Monday kicked off with a critical 36 hours of crypto, and according to Web3 law expert Meta Lawman, and I'll just read a bit here off of his tweet, the next 36 hours will be critical for crypto. Today, 5 p.m., Binance files its opposition to the SEC's motion for ordering freezing assets of Binance US. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., hearing on SEC's motion to freeze assets, and tomorrow sometime, I'll be, I guess, Tuesday at the same time, release the summary judgment exhibits, including Hinman, et cetera, et cetera. This morning, Rep. Warren Davidson, Republican of Ohio, retweeted about a new SEC reform bill that he created with Rep. Tom Emmer, Republican of Minnesota, the pro-crypto House Majority Whip, who has often blasted Gensler for driving the industry offshore through heavy-handed enforcement actions, Warren says in his tweet. Today I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC Gov and fire Gary Gensler as a hashtag. U.S. capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one. It's time for a real reform and to fire this man as chair of the SEC. Not so sure that's entirely the best solution, but he's a Republican. U.S. regulators are getting stablecoins so wrong, tweeted venture capitalist and Bitcoin fan Nick Carter. And quickly his tweet, U.S. crypto policy in one chart. Since January 1st, 2023, USDT supply is up 16.7 billion. USDC supply is down 14 billion. U.S. policymakers have successfully pushed investors out of onshore regulated stables into offshore unregulated stables. Biggest self-own in recent history. He's not wrong. I agree with him. That day, Messari founder and CEO Ryan Selkis shared some incriminating footage of Mr. Gensler, and you can check that video out for yourself. On Tuesday, blockchain publishing protocol Library appeared to throw Ethereum under the bus. It's high time, honestly. I'm glad they did it. Here's Library's tweet. Really regretting that we didn't bribe the SEC like Ethereum. I'm sure that happened. If you get the chance to bribe government officials, please do. It's worth every penny. every Satoshi? Well, anyways. Crypto researcher Molly White spent the morning fending off some incompetent Bitcoin maxis. Here's a quote. Out of the two Bitcoiners who tried to attack me, a lot, but I guess it's something, this morning, one of them couldn't figure out who pays me even though I disclose it everywhere. And the other somehow mistook me for a Web3 shitcoin scammer. I'm sorry, Molly. Paul Grewal, who we speak about often here, vented his disappointment with the SEC's intransigence during a recent courtroom skirmish in which the exchange appealed to the court to again ask the regulator to clarify its rules on crypto. And of course, Paul Grewal has been doing this almost every single day. Read his fourth comment. They ignore the clear statements of the chair that confirm that they have no intent to issue new rules and instead conflate the evidence of a decision those statements provide with an argument that statements are themselves a decision. Yeah, circular argument. We understand, Paul. They're not making sense, and honestly, it would be a real surprise if the government started making sense. Former Twitter co-founder and now Block CEO Jack Dorsey believes Bitcoin has a place in Apple's App Store. Really? Jack says, facts. Apple's building on and with Bitcoin would benefit their company immensely. By midweek, heat was coming at the SEC from all angles. The Republicans of the U.S. House Committee on Financial Services issued a sharp letter opposing the SEC's proposal to amend the definition of, quote, exchange, end quote. I'll read Financial Services GOP. New. All Republicans on the House Financial Services Committee sent a letter, this is part of the tweet, to SEC Gov demanding it rescind its proposed amendments to the definition of exchange, which would stifle innovation and harm digital asset market participants. Yes, I agree with you guys. I'm not on the GOP team all the way, but at least we agree at the moment. And the Promethean subplot. One of the strange subplots running through the news this week was the emergence of Prometheum, a company whose obscure origins that few had ever heard before, but that now has the ear of Congress, where it apparently listened as voice of sensible, read SEC, flattering, of course, compliance. Venture capitalist Matt Walsh wrote a brilliant and lengthy thread covering these main points. Now, I'm obviously not going to read his entire thread, but at least the most recent comment. Last month, in the midst of SEC bringing cases on Coinbase and Gemini and giving the stiff arm to Robinhood and others, Prometheum gets approval for the first of its kind, a special purpose broker deal, or SPBD, not to be confused with CBC, for digital asset securities.
Oh, hell no!
Exactly. Ripple's chief legal officer, Stuart Alderati, I keep mispronouncing his name, Alderati, thought he saw a Percy Bysshe Shelley reference in the name, However, I hope it's Bishi or Bish, I'm not sure. However, 19th century poem he refers to here as Prometheus Unbound, that's why it's Percy Shelley. And the mythic subtext he summarizes is actually the Greek myth of Prometheus, the titan that stole fire from the gods to give to humanity. Student Alderati says, if I remember correctly, the moral of the 19th century opus, Prometheus Unbound, is that it's more heroic to actively support justice for all and suffer the punishment than strike a deal with a corrupt authority for the sake of personal comfort and gain. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Winklevoss's twin, fellow Gemini co-founder Tyler, says that Prometheus offers a model for getting on Gensler's good side. Tyler's comment. SEC has chosen to sue Gemini and Coinbase and Kraken for not complying with securities laws, and yet at the same time has approved Prometheus Inc. I'm just going to leave it at that, because I think he made his point. That's all we got for This Week in Crypto Twitter.
All right, This Week in Coins. Market recovers as inflation cools down. Markets recovered from last week's crash after reading this week's showed that U.S. inflation has cooled to 4%, more or less in line with expectations. On Wednesday, the Fed elected not to raise interest rates at a meeting for the first time in 18 months. Leading cryptocurrencies traded sideways that day, but appear to have made some gains entering the weekend. Bitcoin posted a slight gain of 3% over the last 7 days to trade at $26,428 on Saturday. Meanwhile, Ethereum lost 0.6% over the same period and now changes hands at $1,725. Most leading cryptocurrencies actually posted nominal gains this week. Several rallied hard, including Filecoin up 10% to $3.71. Cosmo Hub rallied 13% to $8.91. Uniswap ballooned 14% to $4.54. And Polygon Matic surged 9% to 0.61 cents. None of the top 30 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization posted any notable losses, in spite of the fact that it was second week of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's escalations of enforcement actions on the industry. Binance versus SEC Week 2. The week began with news that Binance was lawyering up. It hired George Canelos, a former co-director of the SEC's Division of Enforcement, to help defend itself against 13 civil charges from the securities regulators, including operating as an unlicensed securities exchange. Also on Monday, popular trading app eToro announced it was delisting Algorand, Decentraland, Dash, and Polygon due to the labeling as securities in the SEC's lawsuit against Binance. The move mirrored a similar play by Robinhood last week and by publicly listed one-stop crypto shop backed on Friday. Later that evening, Binance filed more than 20 motions in opposition to the SEC's lawsuit. However, by the end of the week, Binance's presence in Europe had shrunk considerably. News broke midweek that Binance was pulling out of Cyprus and the Netherlands while coming under heightened scrutiny from French authorities for aggravating money laundering. Today, a judge approved a consent agreement between Binance and the SEC that one former SEC official said was, quote, burdensome, awkward, inconvenient, end quote. Meanwhile, the SEC wasn't the only one in Washington talking crypto this week. On Tuesday, a U.S. Treasury Department representative said the Transform Payments USA 2023 conference that the U.S. has not yet determined whether it will pursue a CBDC, but authorities are currently studying the potential of it with an interagency working group. On Monday, Warren Davidson, Republican of Ohio, tweeted, "Today I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC and fire Gary Gensler," adding, U.S. capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one.
Right. That's just what we were talking about before, but yeah, nevertheless.
Yep. Davidson created the legislation with Representative Tom Emmer, the pro-crypto House Majority Whip, who has often blasted Gensler for driving the industry offshore through heavy-handed enforcement actions. The following day, crypto executives assembled before Congress to support a draft bill to regulate crypto. It was praised for establishing clearer requirements for trading platforms to register with either the SEC or the CFTC, requirements which many in the industry have long said are sorely needed. That day, House Financial Service Committee Republican also asked the SEC in a letter to rescind its proposal to change the definition of, quote, exchange. All right, Cryptonauts, that is the end of This Week in Coins. Moving on to the next news.
Crypto sleuth ZachXBT has been sued. What? Why? Oh my goodness. Well, if you guys don't follow us, and you're new here, that's fine. ZachXBT is, well, as they say, crypto sleuth, but really kind of like the internet's private eye. He goes around and sniffs out all the blockchain, as it were, and finds out where the money's going, and often is really, really key in helping people get their money back if that's really what's going on. Although he is really good at tracing where money's going. I don't know how he does it, honestly. I do follow him and have followed him quite as long as John has. I wouldn't say that I'm as into it following him as John is, but I guess the point I'm trying to get is this man has made accusations with proof, and Jeffrey Huang is suing him because he doesn't like being called out. I mean, that's really all it is.
Yeah.
And when it comes to almost every single slap suit that ever happens, a slap suit is one where people are just suing just to get you off their case. It's really probably the worst way to get a person off your case is to sue them. But if you don't think that person can handle being sued for the amount of money that you're suing them for, then maybe you stop. But ZachXBT is not one to be undermined. So it's highly unlikely that Zach is going to back down on this unless he really isn't. Yeah. Even so, I think there's a lot of people interested in his continued existence. So it may even be Jack Dorsey that supports him in this lawsuit.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Huang, also known as Machi Big Brother, I guess embezzled $22,008. That's a lot of money, man. It's close to $40 million from a defunct crypto treasury management platform. And that's what's going on. Basically, Zach called him out, says, "Hey, dude, you got this. I can trace it all the way back. You own the 22. It's in your possession. And now all of a sudden, Maki Big Brother is saying, nah, dude, I'm taking you to court because you're trying to slew my name. You're trying to mess with my name
and make me look bad. When in fact you're already making yourself look bad because we can clearly see what you're doing wrong."
Yep, blockchain doesn't lie.
Yeah. If you don't want people to see it, stop. Take your money out of blockchain.
All right, next news. Binance US made a burdensome deal with the SEC. Former SEC official says, what's going on here? Did Binance actually pay off the SEC? Or did the SEC just back off because they have no facts? They have nothing. Nothing.
This
Zero.
is the problem in general. Right. Well, it's not that they have absolutely nothing. It's just that their nothing is just big and scary. It's like basically just trying to intimidate everybody and not necessarily do things legit.
Yeah. Like I was saying off air, that what I just found out is the SEC can pretty much sue anybody and not have to pay a dime, even if they lose. The person that they're suing has to pay everything. So yeah, all these companies, all these exchanges that is being sued by the SEC, they have to front the bill, and it's not. It's a really, really shiny penny that they're paying up. It's ridiculous. All right, so let's see. So basically, what's going on here is there's an agreement between the SEC and Binance with CZ, basically to bring more transparency, which, to my knowledge, Binance US is the most transparent arm of Binance Global. They're very regulated. They're very transparent on all their stuff. So what else do you want? They want every single address and every single owners. They want all these transactions.
But the sad fact is, you can see all these addresses out there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they want to make the connections because they want to make sure people that aren't.
But Binance US, you have to KYC AML. What else do you want?
Mm-hmm.
What else do you want?
Well, they want the back door. They want the keys to the back door to everything.
See, that's where you start messing with people's company. Like, this is my baby, man. You don't mess with my baby. I'll give you the information you want, but I'm not gonna let you in my house. That's one of the things that come on. There's a line you got to draw there.
Without a warrant, you can't just get in. You can't just get in because you want to get in. That's really the key here. So This is the thing that I wouldn't say Gary Gensler is totally underrated about, but the fact of the matter is, SEC is taking an exceptional level of attention to all this stuff that's going on because they insist that what these people doing are securities, and the people themselves are all saying no, they're not securities.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you could more clearly define the rules for us, we could then comply with your rules, but you haven't defined them yet. As they keep saying, yes, we have. We did it, 80 years ago when we came up with the concept of Securities and Exchange Commission. So it's. I hope that Binance wins.
Well, apparently they got something going on. Like you got the two insiders, you got Prometheus and you got Blackrock that are over here on the next news article. It's interesting how these folks kind of are rubbing Uncle Gary the right way. But then you have really good companies that's been around for a long time, like Coinbase and Binance, that they just, for whatever reason, they just can't get in. They just can't. They can't please the overlords over at the SEC. So, yeah, that's all bad. Next news article.
BlackRock, BTF, ETF, BTC, BlackRock BTC, that being Bitcoin ETF, is the real deal? Is this finally a one? Is BlackRock the literally most powerful investment company in the world actually going to achieve a real ETF? If anyone can do it, BlackRock can probably figure out some underhanded way of doing it. I mean, some way of doing it. For 10 years, crypto startup after crypto startup has tried its luck with the SEC. Now Wall Street's heaviest hitter, the literal 8 billion pound gorilla, lending its weight. So what exactly is going on here? Well, of course they filed. I mean, it's not like they didn't file. Did they file with like $1 billion in a little black package? Like, hey, we filed. Here's some money.
Right. We don't.
I don't know.
It's what's going on here. It's kind of suspicious because the SEC is cracking down on all these exchanges. It's like we just mentioned. It's week 2 of the SEC cracking down on all these exchanges, and everybody's kind of like fleeing the nation. Like all these exchanges, like, no, dude, we're gonna shut down. We're gonna take the loss and just leave. And it just it's crazy. It's chaos right now with all these companies. But then BlackRock kind of quietly steps up. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna file for spot trading. And that's been the biggest issue for years. All these companies have been trying their best to file for spot trading ETF, and every single one of them has been rejected to this date. Now, all of a sudden, during the moment of chaos, BlackRock is like, you know what? I got this. I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
What is going on?
We give this a shot. We can do this.
It really doesn't make sense. I mean, if things were different, like, hey, you know what, the SEC's showing favoritism towards crypto now. Okay, cool. You know what, BlackRock steps up. Cool, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense what's going on now. It absolutely doesn't. So if they get approved, there's obviously some insider information going on there. It makes no sense to do it now. Absolutely not. It's crazy. Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. There's got to be something else going on. BlackRock doesn't make these, doesn't make flippant decisions. So. There is nothing going on. I'd be surprised. I'd be really surprised.
I think, if I recall correctly, there's some retired was it SEC representatives, chairmen, whatever you want to call them, that are working for BlackRock, and they were able to write up the paperwork for the spot trading, or for the ETF. And so that's what looks like it's going to happen. Everyone's saying that this is going to happen. So if it does go through, and what's nice about this, I guess the positive outlook on this is that, okay, cool, BlackRock's doing it, and if they can do it, then pretty much everybody can copycat what BlackRock did and push their spot trading. And so
I don't basically breaks the floodgates, right? So
yeah, so in a way that's cool because they finally have paperwork, a standard of what it should look like to file for a spot ETF. Good. All right, cool. Everyone else, and so in this article it doesn't mention, but there's other companies out there that are actually, now that they see that BlackRock's doing it. Okay, cool. They're following this week. I forgot exactly which companies it was, but there's like 2 or 3 of them that are going to file this week for spot trading.
They're all basically, if these guys can pull it off, then anybody can pull it off. If they can't, no one can.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's weird. It's hopeful. I'm not. It's probably to be the first time I actually agree with BlackRock.
All right, next news.
Moving on to Jack Dorsey. So Jack Dorsey's block Bitcoin wallet opens beta. There's a lot of B's in that word. Announces Coinbase support. I guess.
Yeah, that's
Is that good news?
kind of a little bit weird to me, but it is what it is, you know. All right, what's going on?
Let's see. So I'm kind of in favor of the idea of a Bitcoin wallet. Obviously, Jack Dorsey's pretty much in favor of Bitcoin in general.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty fascinating to see him do such a thing. Okay, so
Yeah,
Jack
so
Dorsey's
they
company Block that he changed from Square to Block.
yeah.
It's an open beta program here on Thursdays. So very recently on the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
For
has a
the
Bitcoin wallet called BitKey.
yes, yes. No,
You say I'm sorry.
self custodian.
So it is self custody, which is also good. I mean, you can currently use Cash App with Satoshi stuff, right?
What do you mean?
You can currently use Cash App to send and receive Satoshis.
Yeah,
And
they have Lightning Wallet integrated into it. Yeah.
right. So there's other things you can do with the Cash App, but this is going to be a little bit more than that. This is going to be very distinct. Like you
Well, yeah.
say,
The difference between Cash App and BitKey is the whole custody and non-custody. So with Cash App, it's
it holds your
centralized.
coin.
They hold the coins unless that's why Jack Dorsey says, hey, you can buy from the platform, but withdraw it as soon as you can. You know,
Exactly.
that's important, and they make it quick. The settlement is instant. It's not like other exchanges where they hold it 3 to 5 days and then you can withdraw. It's like no. With Cash App, when you buy the Bitcoin from the platform from Cash App, you can withdraw that moment once it settles the
Immediately.
block.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As soon as it settles, you can have it. Yep. And that's good. It's good because we already know, and this is the reason as we were saying pre-show, I don't really hate Jack Dorsey as much as other people might hate him. He used to be a jerk. He used to be an ass, and he's become less of that because of his change in what he's trying to do. What I'm trying to say with that is that he's realizing it's not so important that you control the money as it is you control the ways that money gets in and out. Because you can charge for those things. People want to buy Bitcoin. People want to change. Well, they want to change crypto back and forth between fiat. And he knows that if you control that in and out, then you don't have to necessarily control the coin. You just need to have support for it. And he's already said that. You need to control it yourself if you can, but we can make money off of this without actually having to own the coin ourselves. So unlike Michael
yeah,
Saylor, who just owns a crap ton of Bitcoin, I'm sure Jack Dorsey has a crap ton as well, but he doesn't go around telling everybody how much he has.
yeah. Another thing that Jack Dorsey is doing that's not mentioned in this article is that he's also donating $5 million to help Bitcoin Core developers. An open source developer, Brink, BRINK. So it's going to be $1 million per year for the developers, which is pretty good. You know, it's pretty good. Sure, it's a handful of developers that are working on Bitcoin Core, which is good. We need more core development. It's nice the way no, actually, no, I don't want to play it up. Bitcoin Core is really uh, generic on its GUI side, but but on its what do you call it, on its command side, it's very very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bitcoin is very functionally powerful. So
yeah.
the basic version of the wallet will include basic functions like sending and receiving Bitcoin and include a way to set up a PIN code and fingerprint authentication, which is also very helpful. And it's kind of like MetaMask. To unlock the device later on, the mobile app will incorporate third-party exchange partners to allow users to buy Bitcoin directly through the app,
Mm-hmm.
Cash App, and as well as Coinbase. Coinbase is still here in the United States. I mean, they're planning on having probably a Coinbase US, and then Coinbase.com will probably be in the Bahamas. Just trying to get away from the annoyance of all the functionality of the SEC suing the crap out of everybody.
So just to clarify, BitKey is a cold storage hardware wallet, correct? Oh, that's what it
Is that
sounds
what
like
it
from
is?
here.
I mean, it's self-custodied, right? Which means you can control it. But I mean, the one thing I don't think that Block
Yeah, it's
or
right there. Yeah.
Dorsey would ever consider doing is making it as weak as Atomic Wallet. It's incredibly important to him to make sure things like this are not or don't have leaks in them
Yeah, yeah.
because it makes him look bad and it doesn't really meet the need of the customer. So I don't
This is actually really good
endorse
timing. It's really good timing that he's
leaks.
coming out with this, with
Yeah.
because considering that that Ledger is over here opening up back doors,
Hmm.
to come out with big BitKey is actually a really good choice to do it right now.
I agree. Grateful that someone that's maybe it wasn't always trustworthy in the past is turning over a new leaf and trying to at least appear more trustworthy.
Wow,
So,
Jake actually likes someone. All
anyway,
right, next news and last
here?
news of the day.
Yeah, I think you should handle this one.
Some SBF charges will be dropped if Bahamas object, U.S. prosecutors say. This is quite interesting. As you guys know, FTX went bankrupt. There's a lot of lawsuits going on with the SBF. But coincidentally, not too long ago, just a couple days ago, there was charges dropped. With from So it says right here, prosecutors argue that Bankman-Fried lacks standing to challenge any of these charges as a treasury violation, as they claim that only the Bahama governments has standing to challenge them, and that's why the courts are gonna drop the 5 out of 13 charges, I think it was. Yeah. And so there's still
It still
more.
has 8 charges, even though 5 of them have been dropped.
Yeah. But there's a lot of people on Twitter that's saying that most likely what's going to happen is that all these charges are going to be dropped eventually, because there's going to be like no direct uh, violation. Like there's no connection to him, and they're going to figure something out to make it happen. And on top of that, with SBF having all these connections with politicians, that pretty much everyone gets paid out. Everyone, that's stupid. It's so dumb that this is the reality that we live in. Like you can take people's life savings. Don't forget, man, there was a lot of people that invested their money into this. There was even teacher organizations dumping their what was it called, not the retirement. Well,
Their
it's technically
pension funds.
yeah, their pension funds. Yeah, pension funds into this, and just for them just to get rugged, and then the individual that's supposed to be charged, so he's not going to get charged. That's what's being concluded. Like, yeah, he still has
Basically,
eight
that's
charges
what they're
pending.
saying may actually happen. But you're right, not all charges. Some charges were being dropped. But yeah, it's the charges relating to Sam Bankman-Fried's alleged bank fraud, operating an unlicensed money transmitter service, and bribing Chinese officials. Those things, maybe. That's not everything. Remember, there's 13 charges total, 5 of them, still 8 left. So sure, great. Some of the drop. I mean, that's not actually that weird. I shouldn't call this big news because there's been plenty of times in history when not all the charges have been applied. All really all that weird if you think about it.
He should be put away for life.
Well, you remember what happened to the Fire Festival guy, Brandon? What's his name? The guy's last name. But yeah, he swindled people out of what $27 million. He did go to jail for 4 years, and now he's back out and doing the exact same he was doing last time. Trying to do Fire Festival version part two.
Jesus, man.
If you didn't learn the first time, how are you even allowed to do a second one? Normally, when you go to prison or jail for fraud like that, you're not allowed to do anything like that ever again. But I guess people are allowed to be stupid with their money if they have it. I just like people to say, if you could just give me 5,000 Ethereum, that would be fine. Just you don't even have to give it to me. Just dump it in our coin tree, and that would be enough. I'd appreciate it. We'll leave you alone.
Yeah. And speaking of coin tree,
Believe
let's
you
go
me, it won't be a waste. It'll only go to the show.
to. All right, let's wrap this up. Plug in the coin tree here.
And speaking of CoinTree, you can donate, as I said, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, Litecoin, Tron, Monero, etc., including Raven and Ethereum and Evermore. You can also donate to us in Litecoin, and you can catch up with us on Nostr, Fountain. Odyssey is a great place to see our content because there's so much there and there's no ads, and you're supporting blockchain by watching. PayPal, Patreon. You can also check out pre and post show as well as extra interview content that we have. See us on Spotify. Spotify in particular, there's a whole ton of different things at Spotify. I'm not going to list them all because John has been gracious enough to put them all in here if you want to check them all out.
An important one that I put at the top here was Fountain. The reason I have Fountain at the top is because you can actually earn Bitcoin for listening to podcasts. So listen to our podcast and you get paid in Bitcoin. And there's Satoshis. You can withdraw them. That's really nice.
So lots of ways to checking out our content on audio format. Obviously on YouTube, you can get us there too. And you can give us a thumbs up if you like with that. On Twitter and Yelp, you have Yelp in there? And of course Twitch, which we're streaming on right now. So catch our pre and post show data as well as interviews on Patreon. Help us out by sponsoring us. We really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. With that, as we say at the end of every single episode,
Stacks,
stats, and hodl.
Adios.